We'll get started just here in about 10 minutes or so if you can hang tight.
And I'm actually based out of the Los Angeles office as well. And we've been working with Ad Taxi to pull together this webinar so that we really can show you all the potential that Bing Ads has to offer, and especially what the Bing network can do for you. So with no further ado, I think you've kind of met most people, but for the agenda, we'll talk about some new and exciting things that are happening here at Bing and kind of the value proposition that we bring to the table, and also why our audience is so unique and why we really want you to capitalize on what's in front of you and what your users are searching for. We'll also talk a bit about Bing shopping and local inventory ads for those of you focused in the retail verticals, some intelligent audience marketing strategies, and also some cool automotive insights and how we can track conversions in the auto vertical. We'll wrap it up with 2 case studies of how some other clients have seen success with small wins or leveraging some of the opportunities that we have. And then we'll pass it back over to Megan for taking questions at the very end of the webinar. So today's speakers, I think you've already been introduced to Megan, also myself, Austin, who's a partner manager in the Los Angeles office, and then of course, Andy Tam, who's in the New York office and is an expert when it comes to things automotive. So have your questions ready. So what we want to bring home is that Bing is a part of Microsoft, and here at Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. We do this through 3 pillars: reinventing productivity and business processes and how you approach enterprise, building an intelligent cloud platform and making sure that data is secure and available for our clients. And then of course, creating more personal computing, keeping the user at the forefront of the experience. One thing that we'd like to note and call attention to is that Bing is a part of the everyday. It's in the face of the user, whether it's at work through Windows and Office 365, or when we're playing our Xboxes through gaming devices, and even through artificial intelligence like voice, such as Cortana. We're really at the touch point of how users are searching and looking for information, and we're using that information to help you guys to get most effective ad campaigns in front of their faces. So what's new at Bing? What are some things that are exciting, and what are some things that you can look forward to? One of the biggest updates that we've seen here at Microsoft is the Windows 10 updates. The Windows 10's anniversary makes the update to the OSS even better. We've seen a lot of our users respond well to the Windows 10, and Bing has been right there along the way. We have about 400 million devices running on Windows 10s right now, and that really is integrated with Bing fully. The Bing owned and operated searches from Windows 10 amount to about almost half, and 90% of Edge users don't change their web page from Bing as their default. So we really are capturing what they're looking for as soon as they click into the browser. The Bing integration for Windows 10, again, I have a picture here just to show a bit more visually. We have it right here in the search bar for the default browser in Edge, whether it's Cortana here in the search bar, which is indicated at the bottom, what used to be known as the start bar, and then of course right here in the regular search bar on our Bing web page. So we really are tracking information about what they're searching for, how they're searching for, and which ways they're using, which methods they're using to search. The cross-device strategy on the Bing platform is probably not as complex as you think. If you didn't know, Bing is the default search engine on Amazon's Kindles, Silk TV, on Fire TV, and even Echo Show. In our gaming systems, we have touch points on the Xbox, Office, Cortana, and even on Microsoft Edge, as we've talked about. And we also have partnerships with Apple. We also like to visually show our partners that Bing is more than just Bing.com. We also have syndication partners across the globe, such as Yahoo and CBS Interactive, that also are great methods for getting your ads in front of the user. In terms of our distribution partners, we have over 20, including Mozilla and Amazon, to name a few. Not to mention our suite of Microsoft products, which we can see at the nexus of this picture. So it's Cortana, Skype, MSN, and Microsoft Edge. This is just a visual of how deeply embedded Bing is into the everyday. One thing that we also like to note out to our clients is that Bing is growing, and we've been growing year over year. Right now, we're nearing 34% market share, and this just isn't Bing owned and operated or the Bing network, but we're seeing this across the globe as well, in Canada, in the UK, and we've seen some really great growth in Germany and France, both PC and on mobile. As far as mobile goes, the progress still continues. With almost 28% of the Bing network, the search volume comes from mobile. We've seen a 17 times increase in our mobile syndication network clicks and even a 55% increase in mobile click-through rate. Mobile is something that we really are seeing with our newer generation, and we really are trying to find ways to capture more information about how users are using Bing. Our strategy is simple. We are looking to grow partnerships to grow the mobile volume. We're looking at first-party apps that use iOS and also ways that we can leverage things like Cortana and the Bing app. And then, of course, relevant ad quality and ad performance that we show. We're really focusing on tightening the product on mobile just as much as we are on the PC side. One of the greatest things that I think about Bing that we always try to hit home is that Bing audience is so unique. For starters, 16% of monthly searches on Bing are new search queries that were not even in the market before. With this type of growth, we really are able to understand our users from different angles. The Bing network searchers spend more than 35% online than the average internet searcher. What does this mean? Bing users are just more likely to buy. Also, 25% of the clicks are unique to the Bing network, so they're not happening anywhere else. This is something that we try to really bring home because although Google does provide a very strong network for searches, Bing also has a unique audience base that sometimes isn't even tapped into. And lastly, 62 million searchers that can't be reached on Google are on Bing. That's a lot of users that we really want to get in front of you. We have so many different features that are also available on Google, and we really want to mirror here on the Bing side of things as well. We want to be mindful that we're not just mirroring exactly the same campaigns that are on Google, that are on Bing, but that we're being sensitive to the uniqueness that Bing brings to the table. And just from a high level point of view, we just want to show you some key facts about the Bing network. So majority of us are male, but it's almost an even split. Most of our age groups run from 35 to 55 years old. So our age group is looked at as a bit more sophisticated with a high to mid household income. That's around 81%. So most of our users are older, more mature, their incomes are higher, and 81% of them probably went to college. What this means is that our users are more likely to convert if your conversions, mean buying something. Lastly, 34% of the PC market share, which we talked about before, is increasing year over year. So why wait until it's reached its peak when you can get ahead of the growth while it's happening in the day-to-day? And just high level, 3 takeaways that I think that, you really should take away about how unique our audience is here at Bing is that 1, our searchers are more likely to spend more. 2, there are searches that are happening that are only happening on the Bing network. And then overall, across all verticals, no matter if it's auto, education, or technology, our cost per clicks are lower. So you should really focus on tightening your bang for your buck on the Bing side of things before you focus on what your budget may be in the majority, which is AdWords, I'm sure. The next portion, we're going to talk about some best practices using the Bing network. And we'll focus on some different verticals as well. So for those of us in retail, some Bing shopping campaigns and how we're driving local ad engagement through these retail features. So in the future and now, we have a lot of things that are coming out in retail, whether it be local inventory ads or product ads in the Bing image search. There's a lot going on around retail. But today, I'm only going to focus on one, the local inventory ads. Local inventory ads, which is currently in pilot, which you can be enrolled in at any time, and we're working with AdTaxi to get you guys enrolled. But local inventory ads promote products available in stores to nearby shoppers. When you click down into the ad, it even gives you more information about what's in stock, pricing, and even a map component about where you can go to pick up the item. Not only are we focusing on these ads on the PC side, but there's a mobile local inventory ad display as well. It's very user-friendly, and it also has that need-to-know information like location, store hours, and the availability of the item in store. Another local service that we can see coming down the pipeline at Bing is local services. So not only if you're selling something that has inventory, but if you need a new cleaning service or a tile service, we can also provide real mainline information on this as well. Intelligence audience marketing. How are we getting really smart about getting ads in front of the user? A good way that we've been pushing now is in-market audiences because they save time and they reach more customers. With in-market audiences, Bing has basically gone in and created a curated list of users that are determined to be in market for a particular purchase category. We have a lot of different verticals from automotive to healthcare to education that you can go ahead and associate with pre-curated lists. So you don't have to wait for 1,000 users to click and to create a remarketing list because Bing has already done that work on the back end for you. They've been shown to increase conversions, improve bids, and they're super simple to set up. This is just some numbers to add around how effective they've been around increasing conversions and click-through rates. And they're super simple. We've worked with AdTaxi to show them what this process looks like, but you literally just associate the audience with campaigns that are in your existing campaigns that are in there. And we have curated lists from apparel, arts and entertainment, gifts and occasion, to travel. So if you haven't, please talk to your AdTaxi rep about getting you associated with these easy wins in in-market audiences. And then there's also custom audiences, which is another way to remarket to paid search users through data that you may have from a data management platform, such as Oracle. Here are just a few examples of custom audience segments that can be used as a remarketing list. And then also custom audience is basically a type of remarketing list generated from the DMP, like Oracle. So if you have that data, you can import it straight from the system to get richer audiences, and it really works similar to remarketing, which we'll cover in the next section. And now I'm going to pass it over to my counterpart, Andy Tam, who's the auto guru.
Thanks, Austin. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Feel free to chime in if you can't. So Megan and Austin asked me to kind of give a few insights and hopefully talk through our automotive specific vertical with you all. And my understanding is that there are quite a few of you that work with AdTaxi in the automotive space. And so, you know, a few moments here is not nearly enough to get into all that automotive kind of has to offer. But I really wanted to take a second here to kind of ground what we're talking about and to give you guys a sense of the audience. And I usually like to kind of talk and start with the scale. Austin had kind of gone through a little bit about our audience and our profile and kind of who makes up our network. It's a growing space, and really for automotive, and as you can see here, for across a lot of different verticals, there's actually a portion of exclusivity as well. So what I mean by that is these are searchers, these are users that you can't actually find on the Google network. So this is unique to Bing, and this is something that ComScore reported. So we know that these users are, unique to the Microsoft ecosystem. And for automotive specifically, we're talking roughly 14 million of these users each month. And if you think about that, across the US, that's a massive number. And myself, Austin kind of alluded to earlier that I work with a lot of different automotive partners and customers in our space. And a lot of them, come to me and ask sort of what is the Bing value prop specific to auto. And if you think about kind of sort of the sheer audience size that's unique, as well as the fact that, Austin mentioned we have 1 in 3 PC searches now, which is massive. You would never tell, somebody to turn away 1 in 3 customers. And so the opportunity is massive. We think that there's a lot to offer specific to automotive. I'm obviously partial, but there is a lot of documentation, a lot of insights that Austin and Megan can provide specific to auto. So if you guys are interested further in search trend data, in sort of what the landscape looks like across the different OEMs and brands, what does used vehicles look like versus new vehicle sales, et cetera. We have a ton of that stuff that comes out quarterly. So I just wanted, to sort of make a point today that there is a lot of resources out there. Feel free to leverage, Austin, myself, and your ad taxi rep to get a hold of that information, and really see kind of what you can do to maximize your search dollars with Bing. So just wanted to kind of lay that up. What I also wanted to share specifically around auto and why it's so strong, if you think back to, and I know we've been throwing a lot of numbers and figures at you today, but if you think back to sort of our PC share, it's 1 in 3 or 34%. But automotive specifically here actually over indexes in clicks. So we have 43% of all the automotive clicks in the search ecosystem. So that's 1 in 4 clicks, even though we only have 1 in 3 users that are searching on Bing. So that just goes to prove that our audience also is very active on our network. They have higher shopping behavior and purchasing power, and that kind of shows and shines through in the performance aspect as well. I've also gone through a lot of different case study scenarios with a lot of dealerships and a lot of automotive partners that have seen a lot of success running specifically new vehicle sale campaigns on Bing as well. So I see that as, again, pointing back to the fact that our audience is unique, that our audience is willing to actually buy, and they also have the power to do so. They have more disposable income. You can see here across a slew of other verticals where we're strong. These are essentially all the verticals where we over-index. So for those of you that are not in auto, retail, business, telecom, they're all particularly strong on Bing as well. Something that is always fascinating to me, and this comes up a lot when we talk about automotive, is sort of the purchasing journey and the decision journey for automotive. And what we found is, nearly 7 out of 10 car buyers don't really know specifically the vehicle they want to purchase while they're going through this decision journey. And we've done a lot of studies to kind of track and kind of look at our users and their behavior. And typically what we're seeing is the journey itself can take up to an average 90 days. And generally folks start off with maybe 7 or 8, sometimes more, different OEM brands or different car manufacturers that they're looking into, and they haven't quite settled in on specifically what they want yet. So early on, it's very critical, and we talk to our partners and talk to our auto dealerships about this all the time, is you want to make sure that you get in early, that you're influencing their decision. And brand recognition and brand recall is very important, and it's not to be underestimated. And so for myself, sort of working with these partners and figuring out how to kind of take their search campaigns and take their Bing campaigns to the next level, a lot of the conversation has now shifted towards how are we tracking, right? How are we tracking your customers? How are we tracking the folks that are coming into your dealerships? And how are we kind of following up? So that is a good segue. UET is essentially our conversion tracking pixel. For those of the folks on the phone that might not be aware, this is essentially taking a piece of code through the Bing Ads platform and placing it on your dealership website or your advertiser website if you're not in auto. And this allows you and allows Bing the ability to track your users, track their decision journey, and track kind of where they're headed. More specifically, when they actually make a conversion. So that might be reaching a specific vehicle detail page. It may be, filling out a form, playing a video. And so, as I'm in conversations with a lot of our auto dealerships, they find this extremely useful and extremely impactful in kind of figuring out their lead strategy and how that's all going to shake out. Digital obviously is known to be trackable, and it's sort of the number one benefit, right, of working in this sort of environment, and really working with Bing is no different. Setting up a search campaign is really only as effective as knowing how that all lands and how that all nets out. And so working with, I would encourage the folks to work with your ad taxi rep to figure out, what does this all mean? How can we implement? And how do you really leverage the most out of your campaign? So conversion tracking, we call it UET, which stands for Universal Event Tracking. Super critical. I would highly recommend it. I won't go into further detail on this, but there is a ton of additional insights and also reporting that you can get through UET. So just wanted to make sure everybody was aware. One of the big benefits, and honestly, this is the big carrot for everyone who sets up UET, is the ability to run remarketing. Remarketing in a nutshell is essentially being able to understand who your customers are, who are entering and leaving your website, and being able to selectively target those users who leave, and make sure that you're able to, again, influence them when the time is right, and also as they are going through this 90-day on average buying journey. And remarketing comes with a lot of different features as well around targeting, around how you're able to set up custom features and custom ad copy and sort of targeted messaging for these folks. And so this, in my mind, is sort of your 2.0. If, setting up your search campaign is sort of the basics and step one, and optimizing with kind of the bare bones of step one, understanding your audience and being able to target them specifically and follow up with them with a very pointed message is probably your level 2. So I would, again, think about this for those of you who are already working with your rep consistently around optimization. This is another thing to think about to add to your repertoire. And I'm sure, everybody in the industry is, it's a hot topic right now to talk about audience, right? Facebook, Google, ourselves, this is something that everybody is interested in right now. And I think remarketing is sort of the next wave of again, taking your campaigns to the next level. So, and again, I mentioned a lot of this already. I won't rehash it, but the benefits of remarketing is essentially, as you may all suspect, not everybody makes a decision from the first time that they click onto your website. A lot of folks leave, and what we see is nearly 100% of folks, first-time visitors, actually leave without converting to a lead. And so again, remarketing gives you the ability to target those folks again. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Austin to wrap this up.
So in summary, we just showed you 3 different ways that we can help you achieve the best business results in retail, in audience marketing, and also in automotive experiences. So we hope that you can take note on these, and if you have questions, ask at the end. In closing, we'd like to just share a few case studies. One company founded in 1998, Too Faced Cosmetics, has grown into a leader within the beauty industry, creating innovative, cruelty-free cosmetics that women love to wear. So their industry is health and beauty. Their market is only here to the US, so it's not a global market, but they're targeting women of all ages, and they were looking for ways to really get innovative with their campaign. So with simple additions like site link extensions and targeting specific devices, whether it's a mobile, tablet, or PC, and then locating specific locations in the US, they were able to increase their return on ad spend by 44%. Their click-through rate nearly doubled. Their CPC went up a bit, but their conversion rate also went up. So just from ad copy enhancement features like site link extensions, they were able to see a lot of positive impact on their campaigns. And you can read more about it after this is sent out on the day. We also have one from lensdirect.com, which is, we call this 4 Generations of Focused. So 100 years after his grandfather began selling spectacles from pushcart on Manhattan's Lower East Side, Ryan Alavoy's name proudly maintains a tradition of customer service. So their industry was a bit obsolete. It was optometry. Their market was also here to the US, and they're trying to target men and women of any age. So they leveraged UET, Universal Event Tracking, our offline editor, Bing Ads editor, to edit their campaigns in bulk, and then also remarketing once UET was enabled. The challenge was that they wanted to stand out from others who sold the same product, but they also wanted to cultivate a reputation based on exceptional and stellar service. The solution was to enable UET, monitor how the customers were acting, use the editor to manage the campaigns and update it accordingly, and then remarket in paid search to connect with those customers that were more likely to convert. Their conversions were up, their click-through rates were up, site traffic was over 100%, and advertising budget also doubled as well. And today they're seeing greater sales results with Bing Ads, and they're spending less to get more. And that's the monster home run that we really are trying to get you to see. So in closing, I'd like to take this time to pass it back over to our partners at AdTaxi, Megan. If you have any questions, please hold them, and she'll be taking them at the end. And thanks for your time, and we look forward to you doing more with Bing.
Great, thank you so much. First, a special thanks to Austin and Andy at Bing. We really appreciate their partnership and joining us today. So now I'd like to quickly introduce you to AdTaxi. Then we're going to cover some Bing best practices, overcoming challenges that you may encounter in Bing, and some case studies to prove how all of these strategies can be very effective. All right, so again, introduction to AdTaxi. We've been around for about 10 years now and have built a large in-house team of specialists that execute over 4,000 digital campaigns per month across an omni-channel suite of products, including search, social, programmatic display, video and native, and email. We believe in transparency, accountability, testing and optimization, being audience-focused and conversion-based. We have built many valued partnerships over the years and across the globe. Here you can see some of the industries that we drive results for and gain deep expertise in. We specialize in building custom solutions for every customer that leverages multiple digital platforms. So we've really cross-pollinated our experience across all of these industries to really come up with solid best practices across all of those, but with, again, custom solutions for each and every client. So let's jump in. We heard a lot of great reasons why Bing is an important part of your digital marketing strategy from Austin and Andy. So now I'm going to cover some specific tactical best practices that have led to many successes for our clients. So, are you running on Google and not on Bing? If I was able to ask for a raise of hands, I bet it's very few of you and part of the reason why you joined us today. But don't worry, you're not alone. Many advertisers want to start on Google first. We heard from Austin and Andy all the great growth and market share, partnerships, and unique capabilities. But here are some additional things you may be experiencing as an indication that you should also invest in Bing in addition to Google. So Bing typically has the highest pages per session, session duration, and goal completions and conversion rates of any source medium across almost every client's GA that I look at. So I challenge each of you to check out your Bing organic stats to see if that's true for you. You also may be maxing out impression share exposure to the point that you're seeing diminishing returns on your ad spend on Google and you need to expand. Also, you may have hit the seemingly max conversion rate and return on ad spend on Google. Maybe you're seeing too many competitors and high CPCs on Google as well. Users on Bing have the same search intent as they do on Google. So they're looking for something that they need. So they still are bottom of the funnel intent, whether you're looking to increase phone calls, drive foot traffic, increase online conversions or sales. And also Bing has all of the same ad extensions, site links, call extensions, location extensions, apps, review, image, call out, structured snippets, pretty much everyone. So you can expect the same bells and whistles to help you drive conversions. So this is what I recommend to current and new customers as a best practice. If you're starting a new AdWords campaign, or just getting into the search space in general, or you're switching to a new partner, start Bing at the same time as Google so that campaigns ramp up at the same time and you can be more objective on when and where to optimize budgets based on performance. So let's see what happens to a campaign when Bing runs in conjunction with Google. In this case, for this customer, it drove more revenue and a higher return on ad spend. This is an online pet pharmacy and retail store. And in the past year, Bing Shopping outperformed Google Shopping by an average of 527%. Non-branded keywords on Bing search saw an average 210% return on ad spend higher than on Google. We ran both search and shopping to maximize exposure on Bing, and the feed was optimized for products to appear more often with more relevance to consumers, and so the products could be organized by profit. That way we could bid higher for products that drove higher profit to align with the customer's bottom line. Bing was truly integral to this campaign, and a significant amount of revenue would have been missed without it. So there's definitely a learning curve to Bing, and this can make the idea of adding another platform to your mix seem more daunting. So here are some challenges that may be experienced with Bing, and then we'll cover how to overcome each one individually. So some of those challenges are difficulty spending the allocated budget, and that can often be mistaken for Bing market share or audience size, and that it's just a smaller audience to reach, but that's not necessarily the case. A different tracking system called UET, which Andy covered, that requires a code to be placed on the advertiser's website. That can create an additional challenge. Also seemingly different demographics and audience of Bing users. And finally, there is no script technology. And for some of you that may know some of these more advanced features, in AdWords, it uses JavaScript to automate common procedures, or can be customized to interact with external data across one or many AdWords accounts. So this is a big one if you aren't using a campaign management software across Google and Bing. All right, so let's get into the solutions. First and foremost, as we get into those, I want to highlight to resist simply importing the campaign into Google and running it the same way. Bing should be treated and optimized as its own platform. And as we heard, there are a lot of unique features and audiences that we want to pay attention to. So it is a good idea that any change made in Google to sync it in Bing. There's a lot of easy import functions to be able to just update what you've done in AdWords over to Bing, like new keywords, text updates, etc. But just caution not to just to import the campaigns over from Bing. Again, we want to optimize it for all of its uniqueness. So you want to make sure to adjust keyword level bids individually on each platform. Don't just import those keyword bids from Google, or you may end up paying higher than necessary CPCs. All right, so another challenge was difficulty spending allocated budgets. Some things that aren't necessarily best practices we follow in Google actually help Bing campaigns perform better. The first, cast a wider net and target broader geos. You may need to open geos from zip codes to city and DMA targeting when possible, but still make sure that we're capturing relevant traffic. With Bing's integration in Windows 10 as the default for Microsoft Edge browser and voice search for Cortana, a significant amount of search volume is on desktop devices rather than mobile. Therefore, you should unintuitively include higher desktop bids. In addition, this allows for longer headlines that can take up more real estate and promote more value for the business in the end. Another less intuitive move is to include more broad match keywords, whereas we typically want to use tighter match types. This will help increase search volume and impressions. Bing has noticeably tightened up what searches broad match ads appear for, but be sure to include a strong list of negative keywords to keep the exposure as relevant as possible. And don't forget to include a branded campaign. For nominal CPCs, you want to make sure that you're converting the people looking for your brand and close the loop on other advertising mediums like TV or radio that entice the user to search for you by name. We see significantly high conversions, click-through rates, and revenue that come as a result of running brand campaigns. Don't forget, lastly, Bing, their partner network is really strong. So it's a really good idea to make sure to include the Bing partner network in your campaigns. Again, some of those partners that are included in their partner network are Amazon, AOL, Yahoo, Internet Explorer, Windows, MSN, Skype, and more. So super, super high quality partnerships. And something unique that Bing offers that Google does not is the ability to segment those partners by performance. So you can see which individual partner URL is performing best, and then you can include or exclude those specific URLs to keep taking your performance to the next level and only include the ones that are performing the best. All right, so we already covered what UET is, how it can be a challenge because it does require adding that code to your site, and it requires some custom setup of the different types of conversions that you want to track. But I really want to focus on UET also being a prerequisite for remarketing and custom audiences and paid search, and how we use those more specifically to drive advanced performance. So let's start with remarketing. A staggering 75% of people abandon online shopping carts. Most often, advertisers, when they start to get into or dabbling in remarketing, want to retarget all website visitors to get them to return to the website. The more advanced strategy is to target cart abandoners with a specific message or offer to come back and purchase. So we walked through this image and how this is the basics of how it works, but let's talk about how we take retargeting to peak levels with custom audiences. So as Andy and Austin mentioned, custom audiences take first-party data, whether it's from a DMP or simply from your CRM, or a list of purchasers, for example, that you can provide and that can be uploaded into Bing. And so using that data, we can target users based on who they are as a customer. We can boost performance and conversions by focusing on audience segments that perform best and target your best customers to maximize revenue and lifetime value. Custom audiences are typically the highest performing segments that we see across different platforms, search, social, and display. So think about it this way. You can target a person based on where they are at in the buying journey and increase bids as they become even more valuable using custom audiences and grouping them based on where they are in their journey. So for a first-time visitor, an average bounce rate is over 60%. Returning visitors are 25% more likely to convert than new users. Past buyers are more than twice as likely to convert again later. So bidding more and earning their loyalty by showing up when they are ready to buy again and for complementary products or services is going to help you extend their lifetime value. So those are some of the ways we can segment these custom audiences and really drive maximum value out of each and every single user, website visitor, customer, etc. All right, so the next challenge is the seemingly different demographics and audience of Bing users. The Bing audience has evolved. Yes, they are still more heavily using desktop devices, but they spend more on average, and that makes sense in conjunction with e-commerce conversion rates today still being higher on desktop devices than mobile. And those people can't be reached on Google. They're unique. So, you know, a lot of really great things. We know that people are still buying more on desktop, and Bing has a very heavy desktop audience. So how do we reach these unique users with high purchasing power? They talked a lot about how they're just a more affluent audience. So we can do this with in-market audiences. I know that our Bing team already covered this, and that these audiences are identified by Bing as quality users that are ready to purchase. They've shown purchase intent signals within a particular category. So really these audiences have been differentiated from being in the research phase. They're ready to buy. So what we want to do is adjust bids on these audiences that are of higher value, similar to what we would do with custom audiences and remarketing lists. There are over 170 in-market audiences to choose from currently. Austin covered the high funnel categories, but I also wanted to show you the lower funnel targets for many categories shown here on the right. Some of these examples are, you know, under athletic shoes under apparel and accessories. So much more lower funnel, someone who isn't just looking for clothing, they're looking for athletic shoes specifically. Pickup trucks for automotive, also luxury and used vehicles. So targeting those lower funnel people versus someone just beginning their car search and don't know what they're looking for. Living room furniture specifically within home and garden, or golf equipment under sporting goods versus someone just looking for a different sport, or cruises versus general travel or hotels. So again, a lot lower funnel, and we can start to get pretty specific based on what people are actually in the market to buy. And then in regards to retail, Bing users are extremely image-oriented. From the beautiful welcome screen images on the Edge browser to the Bing homepage images, Bing users that use image search can also shop products, as shopping has been integrated with image search. So no wonder we see such great results with Bing shopping ads. People can associate pictures or ideas that they're looking for with products that they can buy. And then our final challenge is that Bing doesn't offer script technology yet to help create automation for routine tasks so that we can focus more on campaign strategy. This may be less of a challenge for those that use a campaign management software, but AdTaxi prefers to run campaigns out of the native platform, which makes it easier to implement betas from Bing faster and build our own solutions. So we've built some technology that is helping us to automate and increase performance using the Bing Ads API. I'm going to go through a couple of those quickly. First is the AdTaxi Quantum Pacing tool. The goal is to spend as close to the media budget as possible, within 5% of every campaign. We tested the pacing tool against Google Scripts, and the tool paced more accurately. The tool also allocates and optimizes bids and budget between Google and Bing based on performance. We can choose which specific KPI to optimize for. For example, CPA, profit, leads, etc., so that we can move budget based on where we're getting the most leads that are important to the business as possible. And not only that, but we're helping to drive consistent results for a business to depend on month over month and make sure to do so while maximizing results. For an extra layer of protection, we've automated a daily alert email to the campaign manager. That way they can prioritize any account that is over or under pacing on Bing to make sure that it's not something that a bid adjustment won't address, like contracting or expanding different elements of the campaign, like keywords, geo, or audiences. And lastly, similarly to what the Quantum Pacing tool does within search to optimize bids and budget across Bing and Google based on performance, for the automotive vertical, we have implemented a similar technology with an omni-channel approach across all platforms: search, both Google and Bing, social and RTB, including native and video. The budget floats across channels based on performance for the agreed upon KPI. This is most often cost per VDP view. The goal is to maximize conversions and minimize cost per conversion for ultimate long-term success. So now let's start to wind down with a couple of case studies. First, I wanted to include the WordStream industry benchmarks versus AdTaxi. Who is WordStream? Well, they're a really well-respected campaign management software that has thousands of campaigns running through their software. Each year, they publish industry benchmarks for Bing and Google. We take a look at our industry benchmarks in comparison as a great gut check for how we're doing as we work through the native Bing platform directly with our customers. There's a link to these industry benchmarks down in the bottom right corner, so you can go check them out for yourself. But in all but one vertical, which is retail, AdTaxi exhibits higher click-through rates, albeit a slightly higher CPC across most of the verticals. Conversion data isn't included, which can be very subjective based on the aggregate number of conversion actions each campaign could be tracking. I did, however, include it for retail because most of ours have actual e-com purchases that denote the higher conversion rate and lower CPA despite lower click-through rate. It looks like our strategies are proving successful. Now I want to go into a great success story for a B2B and B2C customer that sells gift cards online. The main goal for this customer is to maximize exposure across all platforms and increase B2B prepaid gift cards. Bing has a strong B2B audience of those who use Windows 10 in their office during the day while they're at work. And they're more likely to use Bing on the Microsoft Edge browser in Windows 10. And this client has a poor mobile user experience, which that's a challenge that a lot of customers still face today. And that lends itself better to a larger desktop audience on Bing. So we were able to drive a significantly higher amount of transactions and revenue. Again, a significant amount of revenue that would have been missed if they were not running on Bing. All right, and our last case study is around automotive. Here is a segmented look at WordStream's benchmarks compared to AdTaxi. You'll see a significantly higher click-through rate and conversion rate for all of our auto accounts in our top 5%. We do, however, track multiple conversion actions that indicate an engaged buyer that typically leads to increased sales. Some of those conversion points are new VDP views, used VDP views, certified VDPs, get directions, location page views, get e-price quotes, contact us forms, finance applications, etc. So we definitely have a higher conversion rate across all of those conversion points, but again, those are some of the things that have to be custom configured within UET that we've been able to do successfully for our dealers. And then just to close out, some of the strategies that AdTaxi employs for ultimate auto paid search performance on Bing. A lot of that revolves around ad copy and just matching visitors based on their current intent to research, contact, or visit in store to buy, and including monthly incentives. Those just provide bigger value propositions and really decrease the cost per acquisition for dealers. We look at models that are of high priority and focus on increased bids for those specifically. We use all of the features that we talked about today, remarketing and in-market audiences, as well as a tiered geographic approach. So managing bids based on where a customer is searching and buying, maximizing impression share in the primary geo first. Using customer match for service campaigns, for example, to re-engage past customers in the primary geo first to promote service and upsells. And then also deep linking landing pages to encourage more VDP engagement and key action completions. Looking at full competitor analysis across search platforms, and as we mentioned before, our quantum omni-channel optimization strategy. So with that completes our case studies and a deeper dive into all of the great solutions that Bing has to offer. With that, we'd like to open it up to questions. So please chat them over, or we'll look at the ones that have already been addressed. If we don't get to any questions, feel free to connect with me after the webinar, and we will do our best to get you all the custom information regarding your business as possible. Any questions out there? Perfect. Well, again, if you have questions following the webinar, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want to thank you so much for your time and attention today and wish you many Bing successes for your business. We'd love to be your partner in your Bing journey, and I'd like to invite our Bing partners to include any final remarks.
Yeah, we're really excited to be included on the webinar. AdTaxi has been a great partner, and they really are focused on achieving the best results for you, the client, and we're really excited to see them have conversations around why Bing is so important and unique and should be taken seriously. So if you have any questions, Megan knows how to close out and to get in contact with me, and we're really into shedding light on how Bing can help you. So any way that we can, feel free to reach out. And thanks for the time. Oh, looks like we have a question, Megan. Oh no, they were just saying we had some great information. Thank you.
Home services. We have a question about home services in top tier for good results. Do you know which types of specific types of home services businesses that rank really high for results within, I guess, the new local service ads for Bing? I know you talked about tile and carpet. I would also add HVAC, plumbing. Those are probably the biggest that we work with specifically. Is there one that I guess I could ask in return if there was one in particular that they were looking for information on?
With the local services slide that we kind of talked about, that was actually shedding light on things that are coming down the pipeline for Bing and things that are coming soon. So we know that everyone isn't selling a product online or advertising for a product. So local services will kind of be an extension to the local product ads and that their services. We do see verticals from like, cleaning to construction, but it's kind of still a work in progress. Not a lot of data around what's top performing.
But I'm sure we certainly have a lot more in-depth trends on building and remodeling and home interiors, which was asked for, so we can definitely dig into those for you. Perfect. Any other questions? All right, I think that's it, and we look forward to hearing more from each of you following the webinar. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.